All right, strap in everybody, because today we are taking a deep dive into some pretty wild U.S. financial news.
Yeah, we've got.
We got SpaceX aiming for a valuation that's out of this world, even for them. Amazon's going full AI brainiac, and then we've got some French political drama that's spicier than a croissant dipped in espresso.
You know what strikes me is how all these stories, while they might seem kind of random, actually point to some big changes happening kind of under the surface. We're
Yeah.
talking about like the power of AI, the changing landscape of global trade, and yeah, a healthy dose of those only in 2024 headlines.
Okay, so let's start with the markets, because things are, well, interesting. The S&P 500 is hitting record highs. Investors are piling in like it's Black Friday, and short sellers are basically throwing in the towel. So what's the deal? Is this the calm before the storm, or are we actually in for some good times?
Well, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Yeah.
What I find really interesting is that while the U.S. markets are celebrating, European investors are still feeling kind of gloomy. It's almost like they're looking at two completely different economies, which in a way they kind of are.
Speaking of different economies, we got to talk about China throwing some serious shade at the U.S. with
Mhm.
this high-tech materials ban gallium germanium.
Right?
These aren't exactly household names, but they're like vital ingredients for all sorts of tech. And China's basically saying, nope, not sharing anymore to the U.S.
Yeah, this move is way bigger than most people realize. Imagine trying to bake a cake, but you don't have flour or sugar. That's basically what this ban could do to certain U.S. tech companies. It really shows how intertwined global supply chains are and how much power China has in certain areas.
It makes you wonder if the future belongs to those who can diversify not just their portfolios, but like where they get their stuff from.
Absolutely. Remember that Standard Chartered exec who said globalization is getting a reset? He was also pointing out some bright spots, Asia and the Middle East. So maybe instead of putting all our eggs in one basket, we need to start thinking globally about investing and sourcing.
Okay, from global intrigue to space, Elon Musk's SpaceX is reportedly thinking about selling insider shares at a valuation that would make it worth a jaw-dropping $350 billion. That's more than some entire country's economies. What's driving that kind of confidence?
Well, it's not just about launching satellites anymore, it's about the whole space industry taking off. SpaceX is already the top dog launching astronauts and dominating the commercial satellite game. And with Starship waiting in the wings, well, let's just say their ambitions are out of this world.
Starship, that's a name that gets the imagination going.
Yeah.
That giant reusable spacecraft that Musk keeps talking about.
Yeah,
The one that's supposed to take us to Mars someday.
exactly. And this potential share sale could be the fuel they need to really ramp up Starship development. I mean, if they can pull this off, they'll be light years ahead in the space race.
Okay, from the final frontier, let's zoom back down to Earth. Amazon's giving their data centers a serious makeover, specifically designed for the age of AI. Is this just a tech upgrade, or is Amazon signaling that they're going all in on becoming some kind of AI superbrain?
Oh, this is way more than just swapping out some hard drives. It's a sign that Amazon sees AI as the heart and soul of its future. They're already using AI for everything, from those eerily accurate product recommendations to figuring out the fastest way to deliver your packages. With these upgraded data centers, they'll be able to do even more. It's like giving a chess grandmaster a supercomputer. Things are about to get really interesting.
So for someone like me who mostly uses Amazon to, buy stuff and watch funny cat videos, what could this AI makeover actually mean? Will Alexa start writing my grocery list and doing stand-up comedies?
Well, maybe not stand up yet, but think about it this way. Even more personalized recommendations, delivery times that make you wonder if they've figured out teleportation and virtual assistants that are so on point they're basically mind readers. This is just the beginning of how AI is going to change how we live and shop online. And this brings us back to Elon Musk. But this time it's not about rockets or Mars. A Delaware judge just shut down his eye-popping $56 billion compensation package for Tesla again. Turns out even the world's richest guy has to play by the rules.
Wait, remind me, what's the big deal about this pay package? It's not like he needs the money, right?
Right, but this case is about way more than just one CEO's paycheck. It's about what we consider fair when it comes to executive compensation, especially for someone like Musk, who's known for taking risks and pushing boundaries. The judge basically said this package was too much too risky and didn't align with the interests of Tesla's everyday shareholders.
So what happens now? Does Musk just shrug it off, or is he going to fight this like he fights for those Starship landing permits?
Knowing Musk, he probably won't back down without a fight. But this case could have some serious ripple effects. It puts a spotlight on how much CEOs are getting paid and whether those massive paydays are really justified.
It's like a real-life corporate drama unfolding, and we've got front row seats. Okay, back to Amazon for a sec. They're not just revamping their data centers, they're basically building Fort Knox for AI. But seriously, for those of us who aren't coding whiz kids, what does this AI makeover actually mean for the average person?
Think of it like this. Amazon's already using AI to figure out what you want to buy before you even know it. Now imagine that on steroids. They'll be able to personalize your shopping experience to a level that's almost creaky, but also kind of cool. Like they'll know you need new running shoes before your old ones even wear out.
Okay, that is kind of cool and a little bit Big Brother-ish. But speaking of global power plays, let's circle back to China's decision to ban those high-tech materials. This feels like it could have major consequences, not just for tech companies, but for everyone.
Yeah, it's definitely a shot across the bow. China is basically saying they're not going to be pushed around in the tech world. And remember, these materials aren't just for smartphones and laptops. They're in solar panels, electric cars, even military equipment. This move could shake things up across a lot of industries.
So what can the average person do? Should we all be stockpiling microchips and solar panels in our basements?
Maybe not that extreme, but it does highlight why it's so important to stay informed and be aware of what's happening in the world. And remember that Standard Chartered exec's advice about diversifying. This situation just proves his point. The more we rely on one country for essential stuff, the more vulnerable we become.
All right, so we've covered market madness, space dreams, AI intrigue, and even a little bit of international tension. It's a lot to process, but before we wrap things up, let's circle back to that financial wisdom we talked about earlier, diversifying, investing globally.
Yeah.
What's the key takeaway for our listeners?
It's pretty simple, really. Don't put all your eggs in one basket, whether it's your investments, your supply chain, or even your knowledge base. Spreading things out can help you weather any storm and take advantage of new opportunities. The world is changing fast, and the more adaptable you are, the better off you'll be.
So it's not just about stocks and bonds then. It's about being open to new ideas and new experiences.
Exactly. Think of it like cross-training for your brain. The more you diversify your knowledge, the better equipped you'll be to handle whatever curveballs life throws your way.
I like that analogy. I'm feeling inspired already. But before we go full-on self-improvement guru, let's get back to SpaceX for a sec. That potential $350 billion valuation isn't just a big number. It's a signal that they're playing in a whole different league.
Yeah, it's not just about rockets and satellites anymore. With that kind of financial power, SpaceX could start acquiring other companies, building an entire space ecosystem. Imagine them buying a satellite imaging company or a space tourism startup or even a mining company that specializes in extracting resources from asteroids.
Hold on now, asteroid mining. Are we talking Bruce Willis and Armageddon here?
Hey, stranger things have happened. But seriously, with all the interest in space resources these days, that kind of acquisition wouldn't be out of question. SpaceX is thinking long term, and they're setting themselves up to be the dominant force in space exploration, whatever that looks like.
Wow, okay, that's definitely mind-blowing. Well, let's bring it back down to earth one last time. We talked about AI, but a lot of people still see it as this futuristic thing. How can regular people start to understand and even benefit from AI today?
AI is already more a part of our lives than we realize. Start by just paying attention to how you already interact with it. Like those personalized recommendations you get on your favorite streaming service. That's AI. And that spam filter that keeps your inbox from exploding AI again. Those chat bots that help you on websites. Yep, AI. Once you start to see it, you'll realize it's everywhere.
So instead of being intimidated by AI, we should be embracing it, learning how to use it.
Exactly. There are tons of free online resources, courses, even apps that can help you learn the basics of AI and how it's being used. And you never know, maybe learning about AI could even inspire you to start a new career or even a new business.
That's a great point. I think that's the perfect way to wrap things up today. We've covered a lot of ground. From soaring markets to interstellar ambitions, AI takeovers, global power shifts, even a little bit of French political drama for good measure.
It's been a whirlwind tour of the forces shaping our world. It really highlights how interconnected everything is.
Absolutely. But most importantly, I hope this deep dive has inspired everyone listening to stay curious, keep learning, and maybe even embrace a little healthy risk-taking. As we've seen today, the future belongs to those who are adaptable, informed, and always on the lookout for the next big opportunity.
And who knows, maybe that opportunity is waiting for you just around the corner. So keep your eyes open, your mind sharp, and never lose that sense of wonder.
Couldn't said it better myself. That's it for this deep dive. Thanks for joining us.